أهلا وسهلا، كيف حالكم؟ أرجو أن تكونوا بخير. We are continuing our study of grammar, sailing further and deeper with every new series, and as indicated on the title, today is the beginning of a new series which is all about the part of speech Al-Harf. And what a better way to do that than a quick recapitulation of the parts of speech to make sure that we are starting on a solid ground. Right. As previously stated, there are only three parts of speech in the Arabic language: الاسم والفعل والحرف, as opposed to its English analog which has 8. And please let me remind you that this tri-classification does not mean that Arabic does not have what English has. In most cases, it is only a matter of difference in classification. For example, the part of speech Al-Harf, i.e. particles in the Arabic language, covers three English parts: prepositions, conjunctions, and particles. And while we are on the topic, I mean the part of speech Al-Harf, do you still remember what do you mean by Al-Harf? Well, Al-Harf is a word that is neither a verb nor a noun, i.e. the signs plus tools of nouns and verbs do not apply to it, not to mention that Al-Harf does not convey a meaning on its own. To put it differently, Al-Harf is neither a noun nor a verb, and it needs to be part of a sentence to serve as a means of expression. And to finish things off, Al-Harf, i.e. the Arabic particle, can cover a variety of options ranging from one letter to two to even a whole word. So don't be confused by its denomination, I mean Al-Harf, which literally means the letter. Alright, now we are officially done with our recap and it's time to get to the heart of the matter. Accordingly, I would really appreciate if you pay extra attention. Thank you. Okay. So the part of speech Al-Harf consists of 8 elements. As usual, I'm going to state the whole 8 just for the record and then shed the light upon what is suitable for the level reached so far and specify what should be rescheduled and why. So this is what the part of speech Al-Harf is made of. First we have interrogative particles, then genitive particles also known as حروف الجر. Answering particles known as حروف الجواب, vocative particles, coordinating conjunctions, inna and her sisters, حروف النصب, and finally حروف الجزم. Again from 1 to 8, interrogative particles, genitive particles, answering particles, vocative particles, coordinating conjunctions, inna and her sisters, حروف النصب, and حروف الجزم. Now, out of these 8, we are going to focus on the first 6 on this series and push back the last 2, I mean حروف النصب and حروف الجزم, to the right time. And the sole reason behind this is that النصب والجزم are nothing but 2 signs of إعراب related to verbs, and verbs are yet to be discovered. Brilliant! So let's start with interrogative particles, shall we? When it comes to interrogative particles, we already have a full lesson about these, so I will simply link it up. You can also check our playlists. Please go to the second half of series 16. That also goes for the genitive particles, i.e. حروف الجر. I will gladly link the lesson up. You can also refer to the first lesson of our series 12. And on a side note, before moving on to the answering particles, please let me remind you that there are over 20 genitive particles in the Arabic language, but we've only covered 4 of them in the series 12, and these 4 are just what we need at this stage. We've got nothing to add for now. Right, on to the answering particles, i.e. حروف الجواب. I know that this kind of particles does not exist in English, but at the same time, it stands to reason that the denomination is self-explanatory, isn't it? They are particles used to answer questions, more precisely, yes or no questions, and these are, of course, yes and no, نعم and لا. Good on you. We've already seen these, however, it is good to know that the Arabic language has 4 other particles up its sleeve to answer this type of questions, and these are بلا, إي, أجل, كلا. Again, بلا, إي, أجل كلا. Now, please let me get a little bit technical. I really need to highlight the fact that the Arabic language plays by its own rules when it comes to answering yes or no questions. How come? Well, unlike the Arabic language in which yes and no belong to the part of speech Al-Harf, the words yes and no are not easily classified into any of the 8 conventional parts of speech in the English language. They are sometimes classified as part of speech in their own sentence words or pro-sentences, although that category contains more than yes and no, and not all linguists include them in their lists of sentence words. And often, sentences consisting solely of these 2 words are classified as minor sentences. And given that yes and no don't belong to any part of speech in English, needless to say that the other particles that the Arabic language has, I mean bala, ajal, and kalla, do not either, because they simply don't even exist to begin with. And speaking of, let me briefly touch on these 4 particles, please. I would be really grateful if you give attention. In fact, when I say that these particles do not exist in English, it's not like they have a meaning that don't exist. It is more about the way they are used according to specific context. Let me explain. For example, has the same meaning as na'am, but it also means certainly, and it is more formal than na'am. And this is equally true for ajal, which is a functional particle that has the same meaning as na'am and which is used to respond to yes or no questions. Still, the difference between ajal and na'am lies in the degree of formality. The first is more formal. And as regard to bala, it is also a functional particle, however, it is used to answer a negative yes or no question. And responding to a negative yes or no question with bala makes it positive, while responding with na'am confirms the negation. So, as it has been pointed out, account of every possibility is taken when it comes to answering yes or no questions in Arabic, and that's the main difference between Arabic and English. And on a side note, please, if this sounds overwhelming, please don't get worked up. This is just to skim through answering particles. A full lesson with concrete examples will be uploaded once we will study negative questions as well as verbs, and everything is going to be alright by then. Brilliant! Let's not forget about kalla before moving on to the vocative particles and ending the lesson. Kalla is also used to express negation just like la. However, kalla is only used to respond negatively to a negative yes or no question, as opposed to la, which is used to respond negatively to a positive yes or no question. That's it for kalla and the answering particles. And as it has been pointed out, the Arabic language has a range of tools on hand to answer yes or no questions in both forms, positive and negative, and each tool is suitable for a specific context. Alright, let's wrap up today's lesson with the vocative particles. The reason why we are stopping at this level is that we will be dedicating the second lesson of this series solely to coordinating conjunctions, because it's finally time to get the nuts and bolts of these. As for Inna and its sisters, please expect it by the third and final lesson of this Introduction to Particles series. Right, back on topic. Last but not least today, the vocative particles, also known as Hurufun Nida. And once more, if you have been following us from the beginning, you would be familiar with these. We came across the vocative particles while studying nouns and their signs. Remember, nouns are the only words that can be called upon. Using what? Using the vocative particles, i.e. Hurufun Nida. And since we are familiar with this part, I will limit myself to a cursory glance. Right. Since we need a noun to begin with, let me introduce you to Maryam. Hi there. Now, if I want to call her, what should I say? Ya Maryamu. Good on you. Again, Ya Maryamu. Couldn't be easier, isn't it? Another example. If I want to call Ahmed, what should I say? Ya يا أحمد. Again, يا أحمد. Well done, everyone. And please note that the vocative particle has no impact on the nominative case of the noun. Okay, before ending the lesson, please let me remind you that the Arabic language has a total of 5 vocative particles. However, ya is the one that you will definitely come across. The others are way too formal to be seen in public. That brings us to the end of today's lesson. شكرا على حسن استماعكم ومع السلامة.